Oh, Phantom Forces, my glorious Roblox shooter game that totally isn't developed by a furry. I love you to bits. Oh. Phantom Forces is a game I hold very near and dear to my heart, as it was one of the first online video games that I started playing. I mean, I originally heard about it when I was in like 4th grade, and you know, that's pretty young. Didn't even like play Call of Duty or anything. I just played Roblox Call of Duty, which is so much better. I still play the game today, although the movement update really fucked my shit up when it comes to like meta and stuff. I used to be so good at moving and now I'm not. But anyways, what is Phantom Forces? Phantom Forces is a Roblox first-person shooter developed by Stylus Studio that has been public since 2014, meaning this year is going to be its 10th year anniversary. This game has been through thick and thin, but throughout its 10-year history, it has consistently been one of the most popular shooter games on Roblox. Today, we're going to get into what makes this game successful and how it's kept a loyal player base for almost a decade, and go into detail on what gives a Roblox game longevity.
Yeah, so put your shows on, got my running, going outside, put your boys in, is it fun though?
I'm not going to go too in depth about the game's history, as there's already a bunch of other videos that have done that and do a lot better of a job than I would possibly be able to. Along with the fact that the main parts of the game that I'm going to be reviewing today hasn't really changed since it was first released. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. There are a couple of main reasons why I believe that Phantom Forces has maintained a high player count for almost a decade, with this first one being the main reason. I do say consistent updates as if there haven't been periods of months where the game wasn't updated, but that's besides the point. A game without updates is going to fall out and die as players eventually get bored, with a notable exception which I might make a video on. If new content or bug fixes aren't implemented into the game at least semi-consistently, the game will get stagnant and players will go and play something else with a more active development team. And to their credit, Stylus Studios has been really good at updating Phantom Forces and listening to community feedback. At least while I've, paid attention. And while there have been some questionable updates, most of the updates throughout the game's history has 100% helped the game be better. Even though the core gameplay hasn't changed much since I started playing in 2017, the game has added many new guns and attachments along with a couple new game modes and events since that time. These consistent updates are probably even more important to a game like Phantom Forces doing to have to balance metas in the game. Overall, Stylus has done a good job maintaining their game, but if there wasn't a good game to maintain, then this wouldn't matter, which leads to my next point. Phantom Forces is one of the smoothest games for its age in all of Roblox. I mean, you can't really even deny it. While there aren't any flashy VFX, like in a game like Blade Ball, for example, which is a game I already covered on this channel, by the way, if you would like to check out that video, Phantom Forces doesn't need it. As mentioned previously, Phantom Forces is a shooter, and shooters rarely have to have a setting which requires flashy VFX. Since Phantom Forces doesn't really need to worry about VFX, the developers can focus on refining the gameplay, and the gameplay is some of the most polished on Roblox from any game that I've played at least. Another game that has like this really good level of polish and stuff is Frontlines, which is basically just a rip of like popular shooters, and they somehow made it work on Roblox. I would play that game if you guys are interested. It's really good. I mean, obviously you guys probably have heard of it at least already, but that's besides the point. Everything from the gun feel to the movement in this game feels super smooth and responsive, which is rare for a Roblox game. Even the things like reload animations and gun recoil just feels good. And you'd think that this level of polish in a game would take like a really good PC to run, but no, you can run it on like a shitbox PC and it'll still work. Me personally, I ran Phantom Forces on a MacBook Air, like 2017 MacBook Air, for so long, and it still worked. Like, I was able to play it at almost 60 FPS consistently. It's clear that Stylus paid attention to detail with this game, and expanded beautifully off this next point. If you watched my previous video on Blade Ball, you'll know that I said this was also something that Blade Ball had in its favor. But Phantom Forces has it going in its favor for slightly different reasons. Shooter games share a bunch of basic gameplay ideals, as they are all part of the same genre. They all share some sort of shoot the bad guy before the bad guy shoots you, and then start to variate on things like who the bad guy is and what the bad guy is shooting you with, along with the setting. The best way I can explain this is with a comparison, and this comparison is going to be super far out of left field, but let's compare Phantom Forces and Valorant, because why not? While the games have very different objectives and take place in very different settings and along with a bunch of different mechanics and everything, the main goal of the game is to shoot the bad guy before the bad guy shoots you, thus proving my idea. This means that if you've played any sort of shooter, you already know what you need to do in Phantom Forces. Let me get back on topic a little. Phantom Forces lobbies consist of 15-minute matches between two teams in a variety of game modes and maps. My personal favorite map and game mode combinations are probably Highway Lock, King of the Hill, and Metro, maybe even Capture the Flag, honestly. Metro Capture the Flag is pretty good. Just stop voting Desert Storm. Please, I'm so sick of playing that map. And while things like weapon loadouts and meta map movement may confuse new players, once you play the game for a little bit, you'll start to understand the movement routes around a map and what guns are the best for each map and game mode, along with how to play said game modes. The game's gameplay loop is also entertaining while not being too complicated. There's one final reason that I believe has allowed this game to have the longevity that it has. Phantom Forces, due to the balancing of the game, doesn't really have a pay-to-win aspect of the game. I know that some of you that have played the game are going to say, but you can buy credits with Robux and pre-buy guns and attachments. And to that I say, earning credits is honestly not that hard, and you can easily do it. Since you can easily do it, you can easily beat pre-buyers with lower level weapons. I mean, the M4A1 was part of the meta for the longest time for level 70 and lower players. I mean, take it from me, I was level 70 for most of my time playing this, and I just rocked the M4A1 until I got the AUG-A3. And if you're unaware of Phantom Forces and how to get the M4A1, you could get the M4A1 in maybe 10 minutes max. The only gun where I could say pre-buying it gives you an unfair advantage is the BFG. But even then, the BFG user still has to hit their shot on you, and also the BFG, in my opinion, is actually kind of balanced. I mean, I pre-bought BFG myself as like a rank 50 or whatever, because it was just such a good weapon. But using the BFG, you get one shot. If you miss that one shot while in a gunfight, you're dead. You lose. Oh my god. It's still so funny in chat watching people like complain about, oh, he has pre-bought BFG. He has pre-bought BFG. And it's just like, get better. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go on a bunch of rants this video. It's kind of funny, actually. In my opinion, the credit system is really well done, to the point where sure, you could spend real money on credits and buy a gun if you really wanted to, but it wouldn't really give you too much of an unfair advantage. The rest of the things that you can buy with credits, aside from attachments, are cosmetics. One of my favorite things to do in Phantom Forces is actually buy a ton of starter 3 cases and keys, and just gamble my credits to see if I can turn a profit. I love gambling! If your Roblox game doesn't have gambling, is it really a Roblox game? That's besides the point though. The other part of this section is to acknowledge that the game hasn't gone through any real controversy with the devs being bad people. It's unfortunately really common for devs of large Roblox games to be terrible people, but this is Miss Silas, thank god. The community has also been pretty stable when it comes to having a clean slate with no controversies. I mean, sure, sometimes you can get the occasional bad apple in the game, but honestly, having a little bit of toxicity makes the game fun. I mean, I'm a Rocket League player, so maybe my opinion is like biased towards one end, but whatever. In conclusion, there are a couple of reasons why Phantom Forces has lasted as long as it has. Many of these reasons relate to the fact that this game is just so good. I mean, it's still one of my favorite games of all time, whether it be like Roblox or not Roblox. Sure, it's like a Call of Duty kind of rip, but I mean, it's still really good at its job. It's a high-end shooter game on Roblox that doesn't require a super good PC to play at a stable frame rate. The gameplay of the game is unmatched by any shooter I have personally seen on Roblox, again, apart from maybe Frontlines, which is also another really good game that you should play. It has an easy-to-understand gameplay loop with mechanics that are advanced but don't take too long to learn, and lastly, it is a game that hasn't gone through any major controversies throughout its 10 years of life, which has led to the game's prosperity and longevity. While it may not be at its peak of popularity that it was a couple of years ago, it is still very far from dead. Editor me here because I forgot to include it in the video. Make sure you join the Discord. Link will be at the top of the description. My name is Stuffy, and thank you for watching. Oh, also Celtics own the NBA.